very good win. Thought Citadel did a very nice job in the game. We knew that's a difficult stuff to play against their offense, and they nickel and dimed us in the first half and kept field position and ate some clock. We were extremely efficient on offense, had it 4 times, scored 4 touchdowns. Defense, I thought, did a really nice job the second half coming out for ones and shutting them down, getting the ball back. Offense, we moved it again. We only had 8 possessions on the day and scored 7 of them. A little disappointing. We had 2 drop touchdowns that we should have put away down there, but again, we can get the ball much of those kind of, when you play those kind of offenses, that's what can happen. But again, second half, our defense, I thought, did a nice job. First half didn't do a bad job. Just there's a lot to play in all those teams, and we all know that. But it shortens the game. But good win. Got to evaluate our injuries and see who's banged up. We had a couple guys go out in the game, got cut, and look at some injuries there. But overall, again, didn't turn the football over on offense. Very good. Was very efficient in the red zone, especially early. Good on third down. And what we did, except for a couple drops, that was very critical. But that's so you don't get many possessions. That can be big. Threw the ball very efficiently. Ran the ball much better. Some of our young players got in the game. I was very pleased. Offense and defensively, special teams. Special teams I was pleased with. Roberto kicked the ball much better. Took that out of it. Had the 1 punt, which was just okay. We got to keep working there. But again, had I think it was a 40-yard punt, but still not as good as we need to be. But we'll keep getting better. Happy with some of the young players' development. Got an off week. Hopefully we can get healthy and develop and just keep getting better. And got a chance to have a good football team.
Coach, would you have 3 defensive linemen go down? How much of an effect, though? Does that worry you?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, you guys, I don't know how bad their injuries are. I mean, that's when you play these kind of teams, they're constantly cutting those knees and ankles, and we got to see where we're at injury-wise. But that's there's nothing illegal about it. That's just football.
Coach Delvin Cook had a good game, scored his first career touchdown. What have you seen from him in camp and early?
Good. I mean, he's learning to be more consistent, learning all the pass pro stuff, and learning to, like I said early in the game, I was on him even when he scored. I wanted him to be certain times. The second one, we don't need a big play. You got to learn to stick it up in there and get some runs. But I thought as the game went on, for his first time out there, man, you see the talent, you see the ability. Guy's going to be one heck of a football player, and very pleased with him. And he's got to keep coming for us to go where we're going to go. Him and Mario, and I thought Mario Pender played well in the game also.
Coach, despite what Carlos has gone through recently, it still seems like he has a really still focused playing game. How's he like off the field and in practice?
Great. He's been really good. We had a long talk. When his grandmother was ill and they got to go home, and I think he got to make peace with it and say his goodbyes. And I think that's why he handled last week so well, even though he was still grieving. But Carlos is a very strong young man, got a great spiritual background, got a great family. His mom and them are great people, and we try to give him as much support as we can. But he's doing a great job.
Jimbo, you mentioned the type of blocking scheme Citadel has. Do you coach up your defensive linemen different this week to kind of prepare them for how to take on those type of blocks?
Well, no, you don't play them anymore. No, but you're always, when you're playing those cut blocks, you got to bend, and it's just that's how Georgia Tech and those types of offenses. It's Navy. That's what they do. And but you got to be able to bend and play your hands. But sometimes they're still going to get there. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Coach, from an offensive standpoint, you guys really spread out the ball tonight. A lot of players saw action.
We did, got a lot of players the ball, and then it was actually the same plays we called a week ago. And like I said last week, everyone was all worried that we threw Rashad so many balls. But I ask you this, how many times did we throw it in double coverage? Not one time. I mean, they had one-on-one with him, you throw it to your best player. And he was second and third reads a lot last week. And this week, a couple balls he got, he was a second read. We may have called more one routes to him this week than we did a week ago. But coverage dictated and things dictated, and we got balls to other people. So, and our offense, it's not based on, we may call it somewhere, but it doesn't have to go there. Like last week, we probably called 10 balls to Nick, but they only got 3 of them. Now, we misread a couple, but still coverage takes it away. We hit other people. I mean, we don't force the ball, and that's what we got to have, diversity around the board. Guys can catch it and run it, and the quicker those young guys keep developing, the better we're going to be.
And all those Jameis did find the tight end running back on it. He was going for the reason to find the check out.
Same as he did last week. I thought he was really good last week. If you go back and look last week, the backs had 8 catches. Between them, they had 11 between backs and tight ends. So, I mean, I thought he about the same as he did. I mean, it was exactly the same things he did a week ago.
How did you feel about the way Bobo Wilson played in his first game?
Good, except for the fumble on the punt. Put the ball on the ground. I don't like that. But I thought he did some really good. Bobo's got some talent. I mean, he can get vertical. He can run the ball. He's quick with it in his hands. He and Kerman, I thought, had good games today. I was pleased with him.
Is it too soon to know how the freshman lineman did?
It is. You have to watch the film. It's hard. You know what I'm saying? We had a couple pass broke downs with our ones. I mean, you know, there were some things in there early that they got through. We're always, but you know, it's second game. We got to keep getting better and better.
Jimbo, you guys stayed relatively healthy last year. Going into this year, do you kind of at least have the mindset like, you know, chances are probably not going to remain as healthy over the course of the season?
When I rub that crystal ball, I can't ever figure it out. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Right now, we got a couple guys banged up to I see now, but you know, that's the thing about football you don't realize. I mean, like ankles and knees like that when they get cut, that's different than hamstrings and things like that. We haven't had many of them. We've had some ankles and hammy. I mean, but the one hammy with PJ. But other than that, you know, we've been pretty healthy. But that's just ball. You just keep your fingers crossed.
Coach, back there, you guys were out 2-0. Now you've got 2 weeks to wait for your first ACC opponent. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I mean, with the couple of injuries we had today, I'd say it's a pretty good thing. So we can try to get some guys healthy if we can. But it's not bad. You get to regroup. All right, preseason's over with. Going into your conference schedule, I think it's it's very good. You get a big time opponent coming in. Clemson is very talented, very well coached. It's one of the premier games in our league every year. And it's, like I say, it's a double whammy game for me. It's a conference game, but it's an interconference. It's an interdivisional game, so it's a big one.
Coach, it seemed like Lorenzo Featherston almost got his hand on a few punts there. Is that something that you guys have seen in practice as well?
Every day. He comes at him every day. He is a very big physical guy, but he's long and athletic, got a lot of ball skills. He can do things like that. And those guys, the quicker they keep developing, him and Jacob Pugh and Ricky Leonard, those guys are all going to be really good football players.
The offensive line seemed more focused on protecting and holding up strong compared to last week.
Well, playing a little better opponent last week too. Right. And I don't mean nothing against Citadel, but they had some big guys up front and they did some things. But we still had some pass breakdowns. We had 2 or 3 times there that we got some pressure that we got to get fixed. But our line, we got a very good line. We got a great. I mean, we got to keep being physical. We got to keep running that football and picking up blitz. I thought our backs, for the most part, they blitzed. They did a nice job picking up blitzes also.
Can you reflect just a little bit on setting the record with 18 wins? I mean, a lot of good teams at this school haven't won 18 straight games.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean it is. I mean we'll hopefully that can keep going. And we got to worry about what we got to get better. We'll look at that at the end of the year. But it is great to acknowledge that we've done that and play with consistency. That's the thing. We keep doing things well, and that's what sports is. How many times in a row can you do it over and over and over and over and over again? Don't get bored. And that's what we got to keep doing.
Coach, last game, Reggie.
2 more questions.
Last game, Reggie had 7 tackles. This quarter, well, in the first quarter, this game, he had 6. What did you feed him today?
He did well. When the dives coming right at him, fed him a lot of fullback. Because when you're running those dive plays right up inside, I mean that's what it was schemed up to do. He's going to have to play it from depth and then get over the top running that alley. And but you knew that guy in that game, that was Vince Williams. A lot of the same scheme we played against Georgia Tech a couple years ago, made a lot of good plays. So it was designed. He was going to make them, and he did.
Jimbo, in non-conference games like this, where you have an opponent that runs an option like this, would you kind of vote against that in the future for scheduling?
Those guys that cut and chop like that, it gets crazy. I'd rather play more conventional teams, not that, just because of the chance of the injuries that occurred.
Jimbo Fisher did start. I mean, I might have missed it, but I don't think he got implemented for the third series. Is that?
No. Because Marcus Walker's playing very well, and then that was a rotation. No, he did great. We put him in the game. We played him early, third series. I mean, that's pretty daggone early.
Yeah.
And what we're doing, so because DeMarcus is doing a really good job too. Chris is going to be a great player, but I mean, those guys battle back and forth every day.
So there was nothing with the academics.
No, it had nothing to do with that.
Okay.
No.
Jimbo, you got some of those freshmen and skill guys on kick coverage, like Galvin and
covering those kicks in those lanes, and we had to create more speed. We had to get down there. I mean, with guys like Matthew Thomas and Legway and those guys who were tremendous kickoff coverage guys, not being in there right now, those are big bodies that we have to replace and get in there. So Dalvin and some of those other skill guys, Harrison, all those guys. I mean, those guys can run, and they got to get down there. And that's one of the pride teams that we've always had here. I mean, being on that kickoff team, being on that punt team, those guys, and that's why a lot of those guys are playing in the league right now, because they can play special teams. And it was a great opportunity. And again, it gets those guys in the game. They get, as I say, they get hit. They get that butterflies out of what's going on, and it's very critical. We wanted to create more athleticism, more speed on those teams.
You expect to have either of those kids back for Clemson, Jimbo?
Who's
the kids that aren't Legway and Thomas?
I don't know. I don't know if Matthew will be back quite yet. We'll have to wait and see. Legway, he's making tremendous progress. That was the schedule we had, and right now that guy can heal. I wish everybody had whatever he's got in him. I wish we could pass it on, because his body heals really well. Certain people do, certain people don't. and he looked really good in all of his workouts last week. So it'd be tremendous to have him back. I'm hoping we can 2 weeks. That was the
Sound
schedule.
optimistic about him.
I am very optimistic, but I can't. You don't ever know.
All right, good.
Good. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you.